Hello everyone, and welcome to the Omindfulness online guided meditation. Thank you for being here. We're here to support each other in our formal mindfulness practice. Today I'm going to guide us 10 minutes mindfulness of the breath and then say a few words about de-stressing. So during this practice, I invite you to move towards whatever your experience is. So if you're feeling calm and tranquil and peaceful, then move towards that experience and really feel it in your body. How do you know that you're peaceful and tranquil? What are the symptoms in your body? What are your thoughts saying? And then equally, if you're irritated or restless or frustrated or uptight or angry, whatever else is going on, then move towards that experience as well. So when we say being in the moment, people think, oh yes, being in the moment, that means I'm going to be Zen. Well, that's not always the case. So we're encouraged to be in the moment, to be with whatever is there, whether we like it or not. And our job is to move towards our experience with interest. And that means being curious, really noticing, and especially noticing the body. How does the body feel in this moment? And how is the body communicating with me and letting me know what my emotional state is? And then afterwards, we're going to use some of that information to help us understand stress and de-stressing. It helps to sit in a dignified posture. And if your phone is turned off or silent, we're ready to start. Closing our eyes for 10 minutes mindfulness of the breath. Coming into the moment by feeling the body. Noticing our places of contact with the surface upon which we're sitting. Maybe our weight is distributed asymmetrically. Maybe there's more pressure on one side than the other. Just noticing that. And noticing our feet. Their contact with the floor, a shoe, a sock, the air. Sensing the feet. Feeling them rather than thinking about them. And then maybe feeling our hands. The sense of touch where they're resting. Being interested. Exploring the palms. the fingertips. Paying attention in this way to physical sensations brings us into the moment, into a state of being rather than doing. And the mind will usually have something to say. And we can patiently move away from the thoughts and into our experience of the moment through sensing the body. And in this way, we might feel that we're coming home to the self, to a familiar place. And then with the same attention to physical sensations, we notice the breath moving in the body. That might be us filling and letting go in the belly. It might be a rise and fall of the rib cage. It may be air passing in the nostrils. And there may be many other physical sensations generated by the breath. And we can notice where our attention is drawn. To this sensation of skin against clothes, to this gentle pause between the breaths. To this sensation of flow or touch or stretch or tingling. And as we notice the breath, patiently and with kindness, we're probably aware of thoughts arising. And we're probably aware of our emotional state as well. And as best we can, we move towards the mood of the moment with interest, the way we move towards the physical sensations of breathing. And as we approach in this way, we glean more information and connect more readily with each breath and with our emotional state of now. Following this breath and this one. Being interested in the most subtle detail. And studying with curiosity whatever arises. Whether we like it or we don't like it, our task is to be present with our experience of the now and to know it in detail, setting aside judgments, comments, opinions. Being with our experience of sitting, breathing, and noticing. And as we focus carefully, the object of our attention becomes more interesting. Being with the breath in a mindful way, noticing the detail, and treating ourselves and the practice with warmth and kindness. And just a few more breaths in mindful awareness. Tuning in carefully to the physical sensations present. And maybe finishing in one place where you connect readily with your breath. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and feeling that transition too. Now, for de-stressing, first of all, we need to know how it feels to be stressed. And most of us know how that feels. But do we pick it up really early? Or do we not notice we're stressed until it's really gone too far and we're losing it? The idea is, with this attention to the self and the breath, we're generating a closer awareness with ourselves. And so the body can tell us early on when we're starting to feel anxious or wound up or worried or sad, when we're starting to feel uncomfortable. And we can notice early on what those signals are. For some people, they notice they become irritable. For others, they get tired. For others, they're heading for the coffee and the tea and the stimulants. Some people start writing lists. And if we can pick up early on when we're starting to get stressed, then we can do something about it before it's got out of control. So mindfulness was developed as a stress reduction technique, and there's a little bit of a conflict, I suppose, in as much as we're here to embrace the present moment, which means embracing any of those discomforts I've mentioned. And as a side effect, the stress that we experience reduces. And so most of us, when we're feeling uncomfortable, we want to do something quickly to take away that discomfort. And it might be something healthy, like going for a run or talking to a friend. It might be something not so healthy, chocolate and wine and so on. But with mindfulness, we're encouraged to be with the discomfort, to approach it in the way that I've just guided us, to move towards, to notice the detail. And so in that very act of moving towards, we bring ourselves out of fight and flight and into this mindful place of coping. And in that state, we're actually more intelligent. We're more able to see solutions and opportunities. And so right at the very beginning, when we start to feel some discomfort, we move towards it in a mindful way, picking up all those physical sensations of the stress. And just by doing that, before we go on our run or we call a friend, we're already changing our physiology and reducing our stress levels. So that's how we deal with stress mindfully. That's how we de-stress. And if you're adopting a regular mindfulness practice, then you will be less reactive in the first place, because your fight and flight response will be mellowed with regular practice, such that when something happens which normally sets us off into a bit of a panic, you will be less reactive. And people report that after a few weeks of sitting regularly, they find that incidents that used to set them off really don't have the same kind of impact. They're not on a hair trigger anymore. And then when they are experiencing some stress in their lives, they know what to do about it. They can sit, notice their physical sensations, notice their breath, notice their mood, and move towards it with this interest and curiosity. And that switches the activity in the brain away from the amygdala, which is the center of fight and flight, which sends around the adrenaline, cortisol, and so on, and towards the left prefrontal cortex, where the world looks like a friendly place. So with your regular practice this week, I encourage you to move towards whatever you're experiencing in the moment, and to know that just through this approaching, which is sort of counterintuitive, we can change the hormonal balance of the body, and we can reduce our stress. And then afterwards, if we want to take a sensible action to help ourselves on the way, we can. But it's a bit of a mistake to jump into fixing the uncomfortable before we've really experienced it fully. It often has something to tell us. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for another online shared practice. Do check out my website, Omindfulness.com, for retreats and courses in the south of France, and courses online by Skype, and also the Women's Network. We have a mindfulness room there, and webinars and courses coming up in the autumn. Have a mindful week. See you soon.